Hello, my name is Denman Rook, and in this video tutorial we'll be answering the question, can you help me paint a bright shaft of light in a dusty, gloomy, underground room? And yeah, I'll do my best to try to approach that subject. And so what we'll do first is, as you can see in the video, we'll be painting in our basic values, keeping in mind that the shaft of light will be a bright, almost an object in the composition, as it's catching the dust particles in the air. I like to use a rather textured brush to kind of capture that aesthetic of the dust particles. And yeah, so I just continue on and kind of paint in my scene. And as you saw at the beginning there, I kind of just roughly put in some basic perspective lines as I'm putting together the cavern dwarven chamber kind of environment. So I want to make sure that my perspective is right and the figure the statue is kind of looming menacingly in the distance. And yeah, so I'm just kind of painting away here and trying to add details and hints of details. And you can see here the light as it comes down through the ceiling onto the cavern floor. The light will then be bounced back up into the underside of the dwarf statue's beard, or even on the surrounding environment. And since the light coming from outside is in this case is a warm light, it's kind of contrasting with the cool light of the cavern interior there. So I'm as you saw first, I started in almost a horizontal landscape kind of composition, but then quickly edited it into this vertical composition, which I enjoyed more. I felt like it fit the piece better, kind of added the bit of depth, or the grandeur of that statue that they're walking towards. Yeah, so just something to always keep in mind is always check your values. So here I'm kind of like darkening the figures in the foreground, and kind of brightening the lights, the spot of light on the ground is kind of my brightest value, with the foreground almost being the darker value, and then the rest of the atmosphere is kind of getting lost in the mid values because of the dusty air. Yeah, so yeah, just keep on checking those. I like to use the dodge tool to kind of bring out my my values a little bit, and even a little bit of chroma sometimes. It's kind of fun to experiment with the different settings of the dodge tool, like whether you want to actually boost the highlights or the midtones or the shadows. It all reacts a little bit differently. And yeah, here I started to add some standing stones, almost like it's a ritualistic area for this dwarven entrance of some sort. Maybe the sun's shining in at a certain time of day or something. I don't know, it's just kind of fun. Yeah, so just cleaning up some details, trying to make the forms read better. As you can see in the scene, because of the light coming through the ceiling and kind of being such a bright part of the scene, it actually kind of pushes the values back of all the objects that are kind of lit in that scene. So as you can see, this little dwarf character that I'm painting on right there, that in the middle of the standing circles, or circle stones, his values actually get kind of knocked back quite a bit. And you can even see you almost can barely see any bits of the statue there, as it's lost behind the light coming through the ceiling. And the only things that you can actually really see that well are the bits of the statue that poke out into the actual light. Everything else kind of gets lost in the atmosphere, the dusty atmosphere. And yeah, so there we are, the final piece, a gloomy underground dwarven cavern lit by a bright shaft of light that's catching all the dust particles in the air. Yeah, thanks for joining me today, and yeah, have a good one. And